discussion, right? So we will start with the first topic, today's first topic, that is 16th Finance Commission. So speaking of this particular topic, the news is regarding government begins process of constituting 16th Finance Commission. So it is just the beginning, and wherein we are, what do you call as, preparing ourselves for the upcoming budget or upcoming financial discussion, we can say. So from the exam perspective, how should we focus on this particular topic? Basically, let's see what is in the news. Then we will go for the static part of this topic, right? So what is the idea when it comes to when we say finance commission? Can we call, is it a constitutional body? What kind of authority, what kind of commission is this? What have you learned in your static part? I believe that in your polity area, you have come across this term. And what are your inputs when it comes to? Okay, very good. It is a quasi-judicial body. Very good. Do we have any constitutional provision for Finance Commission? Very good. Excellent. Article 280. Article 280 is what we have for this particular body, and it has its own objectives. And as of now, we have just a mention of it. But if we revisit the previous year question papers, is there a question asked on this? Yes, in mains, this is a possibility wherein questions can be asked in your upcoming mains, definitely. But still, an awareness of this particular topic is required, right? So the question was asked before in I think it is in 2021, wherein question on 14th Finance Commission was asked. Okay, 14th Finance Commission was asked, and it's like discuss the policy initiatives. It comes in a paper 1. So discuss the policy initiatives under 14th Finance Commission was asked. So this is one of the important topics from your prelims as well as mains, we can say. So let's see what does it cover. So the Finance Commission mainly decides the tax sharing formula, right? So the Finance Commission basically decides on the tax sharing formula between center and states, especially in your center-state relations. That chapter, you might have come across this in detail. So the 16th Finance Commission will cover the 5-year period between 2026 to 27. And the report which is expected to be taken up by the government at the time of the next budget, 2026 budget. But once in how many years this is constituted? That comes the question. And what are the provisions? What are its objectives and constitutional provisions? That's what we are looking into. So this is in the news. Let's look into the static part of this topic. Okay. So what are the key points here? One of you mentioned it is a statutory body. When there is a clear provision given in the Constitution, we consider, or of course, it is a quasi-judicial body or quasi, what do you call as a constitutional body wherein it gives recommendations. There is no mandate of wherein the government will abide by the policies or the recommendations of the Finance Commission. So we consider the term recommendations. What are the recommendations? It is on the distribution of tax revenues between the union and the states. Yes, union on the states. So it is about the tax receipts, how it has to be distributed between state and the central government. So it is constituted by the president. I'm just quoting the key points wherein you have to keep this in mind. Once you learn, see, always remember in your preparation, once you learn, especially a static part, very important topic for your exam, make sure that you need not have to revisit and there should be no ambiguity of that particular topic, no confusions. That is the way you have to learn. That should be the approach. So the Finance Commission is constituted by the President under Article 280 of the Constitution. Okay. Then it is constituted at the end of every 5th year. Every 5th year. So once in, we say 5th year in the sense once in 4 years or fourth, fifth year, this is where it starts, it begins of forming it as deemed necessary by the president, because it is under the governance or the rule of the president, I mean, authority under the president. So it as deemed by the president, it will be formed. So Parliament may by law determine the requisite qualifications for the appointment of members. We have much more details in your, I think you might have learned in your static part. I want you to go revisit, read it again. But here some of the points only have taken. Don't expect that everything has been here, because again, we'll have to go back to the static part. We just connect with the news and let you know that this is the main or one of the areas you have to focus upon. Okay, so requisite the qualifications for appointment as members of the commission and the procedure for their selection. It is all done by the Parliament. So on account of this, the Finance Commission Act 1951 was passed. Basically, an act was passed. Now it is also under the provision of Constitution. So the distribution between the union and the states of the net proceeds of taxes which are to be or may be divided them, all this will be determined. And very important point is the recommendations of the Finance Commission are not binding on the government. Okay, so many commissions are such formed wherein it might give n number of suggestions and recommendations. So it is not binding. It need not be. Okay, we have to be yet to see, there is long way to go. We will be getting more news on this. But as it was, there was a mention in the news. This is a time where you have to revisit the static part. As simple as that. As of now, we do not have much more narrative or information on this. It is just of the constituting or forming the upcoming Finance Commission. Okay, the takeaway should be go read your static part. As simple as that. Okay, let's precise it. You did not dig deeper in every current affairs because you might confine to only little topics, few topics. So as of now, this is there. Okay, so moving on to the next one, next topic, that is, okay, there is some trouble. Anyway, I'll read it for you. The title is Delay in Assent for the Bills by Governors. There was this article on Hindu, that is, governors should do a little bit of soul searching. Supreme Court says on them, holding back crucial bills. Now, what is the background of this article, and what do you call, why the Supreme Court said that to all the governors, especially some of the states governors, that we can, or some, I mean, governors should do reflect on their actions, because this is a serious issue. According to the Chief Justice himself have commented that every time whenever the governor holds the bill, because it will be passed by the state government. Now, governor never give any assent or withholds or never passes on, right? So it remains pending. Many bills are pending, and when it is delayed, the state governments will approach the court. Already the court has a burden of what do you call as dealing with or adjudicating the cases. Now, this will be one more pile of cases by the state governments pleading or filing a petition asking that governors are not giving any assent, especially for their money bills. So this is, though it is a very dynamic concept, you might have to look into many static areas here. I'll let you know once we complete this discussion on this topic. So what is in the news we will see, then we'll go to the static part. So Supreme Court on Monday expressed acute displeasure at governors holding back key bills while hearing a petition filed by Punjab government. So Punjab government is in news. Okay, this is the government, state government, that filed a petition asking that governors are holding back important, very important bills, which means a lot to the state government. So what is the background here? The governor of Punjab, that is Banwarilal Purohit, he is taking more time. What all bills are passed by the state assemblies or they are tabled by them. So the bench urged the governors to address bills before they reach the Supreme Court. It need not reach the Supreme Court. Why they themselves sort it out? This is the question asked by Supreme Court. Now the background is when we see all this assent, when we see the comment of the Supreme Court, what we can say is mostly which all the states are facing this issue, wherein governors are not considering or giving assent to the bills, right? States mostly it is very evident, right? Like opposition ruled states. It may be. Can you mention some of the states where there is opposition ruling parties are ruling the states other than Punjab? Yes, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, right? Yes, Rajasthan, Telangana. It goes on. So some states have this issue. Hope you're getting the point. Some states have this issue. So they're asking for judicial intervention. They need Supreme Court to intervene and just sort out the issue. Now, the background of this is why Punjab court has approached this. The thing is, the latest confrontation between the governor and the Supreme Court pertaining to, wherein the bill was proposed to or presented by the state during a special session in the state assembly. There was a special session in the state assembly in Punjab that was presented. Now, the money bills which had been forwarded to the government by the state government for prior approval ahead of the special session. Even before the special session itself, this money bills were forwarded or were presented or tabled. Can you tell me which is the constitutional provision for the money bill? For money bill, what is the constitutional provision for the money bill? Article. Do we have a constitutional provision? 110. Okay, 110. Article 110 speaks about money bill. Make a note of it, and you can look into it. So so this happened during special session in Punjab. While withholding his approval, the government said that since the budget session is already concluded on June 20th itself. So by June it was concluded. The budget session was concluded. So any such extended session will be considered illegal. So as a result, the session was adjourned. The session was adjourned, and it was asked that maybe in the next session we will look into it. So what happens is, this is kind of the state governments become impatient and feels that okay, maybe the governors are doing or misusing their powers, and definitely there is no other way. So the state governments will approach the Supreme Court. This is one of the examples, but this can be a very important topic wherein the role of the governor when it comes to assent to the bills, giving assent to the bills, withholding the bills, transferring it to president, right? All this matters because every year in one or the other way we see the confrontation that happens between the chief ministers and the governor. Last year we had that was in Tamil Nadu. So the issues remain. That is like frequently, or that is quite repetitive what we can witness. But the thing is, we go back to, from the exam perspective, we look into the roles or the powers of the governor when it comes to bill. Simple basic questions can be asked. Okay, so we'll see the key points. What is the process of granting assent? What is the constitution? What is the constitutional provision we have? Okay, so Article 200 of the Constitution covers the options before the governor when a bill passed by both houses of the legislature is present to him or her. So Article 200 is what we have a constitutional provision when it comes to when a bill is passed by the state assembly or state legislature. So the first provision, the same, we know that governor and president, we have a similarity when it comes to certain provisions or certain powers. There is a similarity. President at the central level, governor at the state level. So what are the provisions? The governor, if the bill is presented, if it is tabled, first thing is they can either declare his assent to the bill. First is giving assent to the bill, agreeing to the bill, right? Then second is withhold the assent if it is not a money bill. That is why I asked you to look into Article 110, understanding what is a money bill. Okay, so either declare, withhold, or reserve the law for the consideration of the president if he thinks the bill derogates from or endangers the power of judicial review of the High Court. These are the three provisions we have. If at all, next thing, in case the governor chooses to withhold assent, let's say the governor chooses the second provision, what should be the case? He should return the return the bill as soon as possible with a message requesting the legislative assembly to reconsider the proposed law or any specified provision or suggest amendments. Now there is a chance wherein if he is withholding, there is no result given, there is no output is coming. So the next step governor should do is he should return the bill to the legislative assembly itself to reconsider what they have tabled, because the governor is not able to give an assent. So there can be some rectifications that has to be made in the bill. So it will be sent for reconsideration. So and also any amendments or anything that has to be changed, then the assembly would reconsider and pass the bill, and this time governor should not withhold his assent. So second time when it is presented, second time when it is tabled, even after reconsideration, there is no power to the governor. But there is no power wherein the governor can withhold the assent. What is happening? The governor is not even returning for the first time itself, not even forwarding, not even declaring. So what happens? Money bills or other bills will stay pending. This is the concern here. That is why Supreme Court has remarked that they have to sort it out among themselves instead of reaching to the Supreme Court every other time whenever opposition parties are ruling in the states. So in short, concluding, the governor will have to agree to the considered decision of the Council of Ministers. So there is second time, there is no other go. He has to consider or give his assent. Now, coming back to the Article 200, what is going wrong? What is this ambiguity we can see is, in the article itself, it is given, the very important phrases, should return the bill as soon as possible. What is as soon as possible? That is not been mentioned, or that is not been defined, or Constitution falls short in explaining or defining what is, how soon it is, whether it can be delayed, or if it is delayed, or to what extent it can be delayed. There is no such information in the Constitution. That gave up an ambiguous situation here. That is where possibilities are there, where there is no clear-cut idea regarding the delay or the quickening of the process. But if you revisit the past, if you see some of the cases that has happened previous, or the judgments by the Supreme Court in 1972. So in 1972, a judgment was passed by the Supreme Court saying that as soon as possible means practically possible time without any delay. So this was the verdict. In 1972, there was a case wherein Supreme Court passed a judgment. Apart from that, not only this, when we see the peripheral aspects of granting assent, and when we relate this process of granting assent and all that, we do have certain commissions, certain recommendations that was formed for center-state relations, or especially some of the recommendations of at least two popular commissions in center-state relations. Can you mention the names of the commission? The name of the commission wherein especially you learn under center-state relations. Anything that comes to your mind? Very good. Sarkaria Commission. Sarkaria Commission of 1983. Very good. 1983. And one more, Panchi Commission. If I'm not wrong, 2007. Not Mandal Commission. Sarkaria and Panchi Commission is related to this. Okay, that is one case we have. And these two commissions, both the commissions have given recommendations wherein suggest that instead of having all this hassle, why not the state governments simply consult the governor while drafting a bill, go for the consideration, negotiate, and finally table it? What is the trouble? Of course, we know that it is it is a general idea wherein state assemblies will draft the bill according to the convenience or the need of the states, and then they table it. And of course, governors who are appointed by the central government, there will be, there can be ego clashes, there can be what's a difference of opinions, maybe abuse of power. There are a number of instances we have seen in the past years. So, having a conclusion about this particular topic, as I told you, this is quite a repetitive phenomenon over the years. This has been happening, but you might have to look into. And again, coming to Sarkaria and Panchi Commission, we know that Commission's recommendations are not binding by the government. It depends what is necessary. It is being considered. So these two Commission recommendations you have to keep in mind. Can go through the highlights of this, and also the powers of the governor. This is the takeaway from this topic. Okay, governor as a chapter. Look into it in your static part and understand, and also money bill. These are the static areas you have to learn from this or take away from this topic or the article. Hope it is clear. Okay. Now moving on. One more topic under quality only you can consider. It is e-FIR, electronic FIR or e-authentication. Now there's a recent article, move towards e-FIR, but with caution, because the Law Commission already, there is a recommendation that we are trying to introduce e-FIR, wherein electronic first information report, and how it works, what are its implications. That was in the news, and a thorough explained article. Hope you have come across this. Did you come across this article in the past week? Anyway, so let's see the news. Good. Let's see the news. Okay. Make sure that you people on Zoom, and if you can mute while you join. So we will see the explanation here. There should be e-FIR registration for unidentified individuals involved in serious crimes. There are certain terminologies. Let's look into it. This process would involve a combination of electronic submission and physical signing with a deadline of 3 days as of now. Okay. So before this, we have to know what is FIR. What are your inputs on FIR? Can you tell me? Can you give some inputs on FIR? What idea, knowledge you have? Before we understand e-FIR, I think it makes sense we should be knowing what is FIR. (153) section. Okay. Then see this FIR, cognizable and non-cognizable FIR. Good. So it is a written document prepared by the police when they receive information about the commission of a cognizable offense. What is cognizable offense? What is cognizable offense? What is the difference between, before we go to the article, what is the difference between cognizable and non-cognizable offense? We use this term. Okay, warrant and without warrant. Some of the examples of cognizable offenses, wherein cognizable is without warrant, right? Non-cognizable is with warrant. So what are the examples? At least one example for cognizable and good. So severe crimes or serious crimes. Serious crimes, yes, severe cases such as murder, rape, kidnapping, theft. All these are cognizable offenses. Non-cognizable is a less serious offense, wherein it includes a defamation, public nuisance. All these come under non-cognizable offense, right? Under CRPC, FIR comes, correct. So we have also seen in the previous past weeks regarding the 3 bills when it comes to what do you call as the crime aspect, right? That is also there. CRPC, IPC, and all that. That also you have to keep in mind. We can revisit that as well. So coming to this, speaking of the term FIR here, so FIR will be containing the information about the offense, the date and time, right? What all the information we have in FIR? What is the offense committed, date and time of offense, right? Details about accused if we know about it, and details about who has informed regarding the case, regarding the crime. Yes. So this will be reported. Now let's speak about what is this e-FIR. Have you heard of anyway what do you call as zero FIR? Yes. What is zero FIR? Though the topic is on e-FIR, we are just discussing the peripheral aspects. Okay. What is zero FIR? We have false FIR also, which is a serious offense again, a fake FIR. But what is zero FIR? So zero FIR is, yes, a FIR which can be filed in any police station, regardless, very good, regardless it is committed in a particular jurisdiction or not, right? Zero FIR can be filed. That is called a zero FIR. Okay, anyway, no number will be given for it. Exactly, no number will be given for it. And also the FIR can be filed outside the jurisdiction or in any police station and registered. Yes, exactly. Now we will speak of e-FIR. So this process would involve a combination of electronic submission. The name itself suggests, as we have already read this point. While this proposal, because the Law Commission has this proposal, it aims to expedite the process of reporting crimes. There are concerns about its effectiveness, highlighting the significance of human intervention, particularly in cases that demand immediate police intervention. Why e-FIR? Why we are moving towards e-FIR? Because to improve or expedite means in order to speeden up the process of reporting crimes. If it goes manually, there are at times, it is not that every time we blame it on the crime branch or law and order. At times, because of various external issues or external aspects, there can be a trouble while filing an FIR, or it can be misused also. So if it is electronically done, some of the troubles what we have already facing filing FIR can be solved, can be sorted. So it also recommends investigating e-authentication methods to improve the verification process. So these are some of the recommendations. Still we are in the recommendatory stage. Okay, an idea of e-FIR is required. As the name itself suggests, it is electronic FIR, which is unlike the manual or the current conventional FIR what we are filing. Now, the key points about this concept. Okay, the concept of, let's understand the definition. The concept of e-FIR includes obtaining information or complaint through electronic means. Through electronic means using common national portal. There will be one common electronic portal website, and then getting the information or complaint signed by the complainant physically within stipulated time to convert the complaint into an actual FIR. So first thing is we have time also. You can see the previous aspect here. There is deadline to get the physical signing for FIR. There is a deadline of 3 days. Basically, signing is very important. No matter what, whatever you file the case and ultimately you don't have a sign means that is not valid. Correct. So there is a stipulated time. What is the stipulated time? 3 days. Then if the accused is known while filing an FIR, if the accused is known, as a preliminary step, registration of e-FIR may be followed for cognizable offences. As we have already discussed, what is cognizable? It is the serious or the severe crimes, wherein the punishment provided under IPC and the other laws is up to 3 years. So if the accused is known, FIR may be allowed for the cognizable offences. That is allowed. In other cases, which is punishable more than 3 years of imprisonment, the conventional method prescribed under the IPC needs to be followed. Still, we do not have well-developed e-FIR today. We are just progressing towards it, and there are certain benefits, there are certain limitations also when it comes to e-FIR. In the next step, the police officer is required to get the signature of the complainant within 3 days to register an e-FIR. Otherwise, the e-FIR shall not be registered. So signature is very important here, as I've already mentioned. Everything is done electronically. All the what do you call as procedure is quite simple or quite similar to the previous one or the FIR itself, the conventional one. But signing is very, very important. Now, what are the benefits because of this method or this procedure? First, the police will have to take cognizance of the complaint, as a system will automatically generate receipt. This will ensure almost free registration of crime. Once the complaint is registered, so there is a receipt which automatically generates. So one need not wait or what do you call as bribe or run around. There is no such thing. So basically, the receipt is automatically generated once it is registered. Then the second, the police will not be able to change the contents of the complaint, because once it is registered on the portal, that remains. There is no editing, there is no changing, there is no what do you call as changing of the facts or the contents of the complaint. Nothing can be done. These are the benefits. Okay, yet to see. Once you read this article, you will have an idea. Maybe in the future also, if the same topic repeats, maybe you'll get a better idea. As of now, just an awareness of e-FIR is very, very important. Now, understanding this, is there any limitations of e-FIR? If you can point out, what are the limitations of e-FIR? What are the limitations? Any idea, or what do you feel? Whether this works, or are there any? Very good. Digital literacy, or we can say is lack of awareness. People should know about e-FIR first. That should be promoted. People should be knowing about, or lack of awareness, or even what you said was digital literacy. That is very, very important. How to file complaint electronically. Maybe digital literacy we are improving because everybody uses phone. But people should know that we have it. We have such a system in the first place. Awareness is little low as of now. Very good. So can make a point. Lack of awareness, then lack of awareness, we can say. Then complete information we will not get. Okay. e-FIR does not mean an automatic registration of an FIR using electronic means. See, e-FIR is filing it, but it is not. We receive a receipt. It doesn't mean that it automatically everything done is controlled, because there is lack of infrastructure yet, and also the models wherein state has to limitation in edit in case of error. Excellent. What if something has been, see, the same benefit here, what we see, the same benefit, same advantage can be a limitation as well. Very good. Then anything else? Anything else? You can add more also, right? See, we are just looking into the physical signature part here. So there is a concept called as not only physical signature. It's just because there is e-FIR now, still there is an aspect of getting a physical signature at least within 3 days. But what is the point filing electronically, and again you will have to find, you have to get this physical signature. That for that you could have done it manually, conventionally only. So there is a vision wherein trying to get the digital signature as well. Digital signature also should be taken, wherein all this hassle can be reduced. But we do not have, as one of you mentioned, we do not have proper infrastructure to get to that level yet. But the idea is great. Okay, it might improve the entire law and order situation, and regarding the cases, criminal cases, cognizable and offenses, cognizable and non-cognizable offenses. So in future, we might, we can look forward wherein a better, robust, strengthened law and order. Yet, as of now, there are some limitations. This is what we have in this article. Awareness about FIR. Okay, I think it's been asked once, FIR and terms such as judicial custody and all that. That will be seen in news every year. So these are the basic terminologies. Idea should be there. Okay, so this is what we have from this topic. Moving on, the next one, we'll speak about art and culture, or history you can consider, or geography also in a way, geology also. Let's see where we can put this under. Okay, recently a 3,000-year-old Iron Age geoglyph circle discovered in Telangana. Why such discoveries matter? Why should we learn about this? Because when we speak of certain discoveries, especially from the prehistoric times or maybe ancient in ancient India, you learn from this part. We can connect certain topics, maybe which is if a landscape is very unique and very different, and this discovery can pave way for further interpretations, further information, then such news will be very important. We have similar questions that's been asked, like maybe there was a question like 2-3 years back, Erramatti Dibbalu of Andhra Pradesh, very unique geological site. Have you heard of this site? That question was asked. Maybe in terms of the place, or maybe I'm just referring to the previous year questions. See, every topic we are discussing, I know that throughout the week you will be coming across various topics. So what we do is, here we do selectively. Why selectively? We are trying to associate the similar topics which is been asked in the previous year, past years. Getting the idea? So as we have that similar line of questions, similarity of the questions, so we speak about this. Anyway, what is a geoglyph? What is the news? Let's see. A geoglyph in the form of a circle is said to be 3,000 years old, has been unearthed in Telangana, in the place which has been given here, Medchal Malkajgiri district of Telangana, just to know the place. Etched on a low-lying granitoid hillock, the geoglyph spans 7.5 meters in diameter and has a perfect circular shape. The shape is perfect circle, and it is on the top of a granitoid, means a granite consisting, the hill which consists of granite. So on this they have discovered it. So experts suggest that this circle might have served as a model for megalithic communities in planning their circular burial sites. Burial sites, UPSC is very fond of this topic. Question asked on burial sites, or maybe what do you call as megaliths, which is pertaining to Iron Age. These are the peripheral areas. So connecting with the current affairs, they might go back to the static part. Okay, let's see what is the meaning of geoglyph. And we have other examples throughout the world. This is not the first thing here. In India, we have discovered it. So the timeline, what they have come to a conclusion is 3,000 year old. So we will see what is geoglyph and some other examples as well, some types as well in detail. So these are some of the images of geoglyph you can see. Geo on earth, glyph is art, okay, or arrangement. Here, a geoglyph is created by arranging or moving objects within the landscape. A very huge it can be, or in any size, but it has certain shapes or some messages given, or maybe for a particular purpose. So there are two types of geoglyphs, major ones, positive and negative geoglyphs. Let's see what is positive and negative geoglyphs. So positive geoglyph, it is formed by the arrangement and alignment of materials on the ground in a manner akin to topetroforms, we say, which are simply the outlines created using boulders. So there is no, what do you call as etching. Etching means carving is done. It is simply arrangement of the substance, maybe boulders or stones or larger rocks and all that. So there is some arrangement being done. So that is positive geoglyph, wherein no scratching, no etching will be done. That is positive geoglyph. Okay. Negative geoglyph is, it is formed by removing. Topetroforms is nothing but so what do you call as so from the top, so the top view you can see here. These are some of the example at the worldwide, right? So the top view of the geoglyphs, we say. Okay, top view of the geoglyphs. So that means when we look into it, see, petro means stones. Petro means stones. Okay, I'm sorry. akin to, yeah, correct. I just read it with the flow. Petroforms, I'm sorry, petroforms. So petroforms, petro means stone. The arrangement of stones that is visible is called as petroforms. Okay, which are simply used creating rocks or boulders, bigger stones. So negative geoglyph is, it is formed by removing part of the natural ground surface to create differently colored or textured ground in manner akin to petroglyphs. So today, some countries like China was in news, Japan was in news, especially China. So wherein some regions, some countries were in news, very remote, very, I mean, not so significant news we have seen, but it is like some changes have been made on the natural ground. It is not an arrangement, it is basically created. A surface is created, maybe what do you call as, which is quite similar to stones, but some part of the natural ground will be removed, carved out. That is called as negative geoglyph. And there is also one more variation of geoglyph, that means seeding plants in a special design. When you plant plants or the seeds in a very special design, that is also a process. I mean, that is also a geoglyph called as arbor glyph related to plants. That is one more method. Then another type is chalk giants, which are those carved into hillsides exposing bedrock beneath. So literally carved out. So geoglyphs are basically what? On the geo is earth, glyph is art. So arranging, moving, etching, creating, carving, this is what we see as geoglyph. Now the article is on, in Telangana, we have the circular shape, wherein the experts suggest that this could be a burial site. Burial site, or for a ritual, this is being carved. That is what the recent observation. Now, in the past, if we see, in the past, some of the wonders, some of the miracles, or some of the fascinating places, we can say, from the ancient times, this is what you see in the first image here. The Nazca plate, lines of Peru in South America, which have been a mystery to this day. Who drew this line? From the top view, from the satellite imagery, if you see, this is what it is seen. What is it exactly? Why it was drawn? I mean, what is the, how it is exactly with all the angles, with such precision it has been drawn. Today also it is a mystery. So this is an example of geoglyph. Then other places we have megaliths in the Ural Mountains and Uffington in Whitehorse, Wilmington. In European regions, we have n number of art, or what's a landscapes like this. So in India also, it has been discovered. So from the exam perspective, just knowing the term, what is the meaning of geoglyph, and also remotely connecting to megalith or rock edicts. Question, there will be one question on megalith, rock edicts, right? There will be such questions, especially in match the pace, giving the name of the rock edicts and also giving the places where you have to match it. Such questions, there is a possibility. That's why you should be knowing about it. Okay. We'll see in future maybe any other developments on this particular area. Hope you got an idea about it. Moving on, the next history itself, art and culture you can consider. Elephanta caves was recently in news. Elephanta caves. So what are the inputs you know about Elephanta caves? Yes. Anyway, we will see the news, then you can add. A team of researchers recently discovered 2 rock-cut Shaivite temple caves older than Elephanta near Ratnagiri, Maharashtra. So these rock-cut caves of Shaiva sect are present around 8 kilometers from Rajapur town. A similar cluster of such Shaivite caves were early discovered in South Goa as well. And the monolithic cut laterite cave temples was created sometime around 5th or 6th century. Now, it is a very simple news wherein a temple, a Shaivite temple is being discovered. But when it comes to such discoveries like temples or some images, it is subjected to changes in future because it is just a recent discovery and they have come to a conclusion it is a Shaivite temple. Before this has happened before as well in Bandhavgarh. In Bandhavgarh in Madhya Pradesh, initially they thought this is some stone inscriptions, then something else. So there can be, it can be subjected to changes. Now, what is the constant or static topic here? Elephanta caves. Elephanta caves. Okay, so we might have to look into this UNESCO heritage site as well, and we revisit the same term because it's been asked in the past as well. So though it is about the discovery of temple, we give importance to the same thing, that is caves. So when we look into this Elephanta caves, it is known for its famous Trimurti structure, rock cut art. So the Elephanta caves are located in western India or Elephanta Island, which is 7 kilometers away from Mumbai. And possibility, the timeline where it is constructed between 5th to 6th centuries. And we can see this has been dedicated to Lord Shiva. Maybe there is some trouble with, okay, when I read with the flow, because there are no space between the words while putting up, there can be certain mistakes. Hope you can understand. I mean, no trouble with that while reading it. If there is any such mistakes, please point out. Maybe I might overlook it. Okay, like the previous one. Okay. So there are two groups of caves on the site of the Elephanta caves. The first is a large group of 5 Hindu caves, and the second is a smaller group of 2 Buddhist caves. So we have this presence of Hinduism and Buddhism, or the concepts etched here in this Elephanta caves. So any dynasty associated with Elephanta caves? Any idea? Any kings? Any dynasties? What you have learned? So the caves are hewn from the solid basalt rock, except for few exceptions. Much of the artwork is defaced and damaged. Now, there are many art forms, artworks here inside, not sorry, art forms, artworks are inside these caves. But today it is damaged. Yes, we relate it to Rashtrakuta. Exactly, good. So you might have to look into the static part of Rashtrakuta here. Okay. So I think from the past few years, in one or the other way, Elephanta caves are in news, Ellora, Ajanta, they'll be in news. Okay. Anyway, the caves, these caves are an expression of art, some of which are Trimurti and what do you call as, wherein Gangadhar, having a manifestation of river Ganga, Ardhanarishwar, all these we can see inside the cave, and also Buddhist images, carvings. So this is a combination of multiple beliefs here and faiths here. So more, this is only the general terms I have put up, general points I have put up. You might have to look into more, whether in terms of art and culture, and also from the ancient India part. Okay, so news is totally different, yet we are speaking about it. And when we speak of Ratnagiri as a place, have you heard of something called as a diamond triangle? What is diamond triangle? Any idea about it? Anything associated with Ratnagiri here? Which are the places we consider as diamond triangle? It is related to tourism basically. Yes, there are 3 places what we call as diamond triangle, that is Ratnagiri, Udayagiri and Lalitgiri. So basically either Ratnagiri will be in news, Udayagiri will be in news. Last year Udayagiri was in news, Udayagiri caves. This is Ratnagiri caves, Lalitgiri. You have to find out, I mean, you have to look into the places and important places around these sites: Ratnagiri, Udayagiri and Lalitgiri. Udayagiri, Odisha. I think Lalitgiri is also in Odisha. So Ratnagiri in Maharashtra. This place, this region, which is connected tourism, from the viewpoint of tourism, this is called as diamond triangle. Okay, just to add a point to this article. Anyway, moving on. The next one, we'll talk about some economics or governance as well. Coal was in news, or National Coal Index was in news. So the National Coal Index rose 3.83 points to 143.91 in September amid growing demand for coal. So what is this coal index we have to see, and what does this mean of rising the points from 3 points or 3.83 points to 143? So NCI, or National Coal Index, is a price index combining the prices of coal from all the sales. sales channels, notified prices, auction prices, and import prices. So it's the price index, to what level the coal is being sold, and it's the price of when it comes to auction, import prices and all that. It is just an assessment, national coal index. Okay, so it is to determine the premium or a per ton basis, or revenue share on a percentage basis based on a market based mechanism. So need not go to the mechanism part. Just having an awareness of what is national coal index matters, because coal is a very important topic from your mains perspective as well as prelims. Both coal questions on coal has been asked previously as well. Okay, so very important. In 2019 it's been asked regarding coal sector. So I think in prelims, so you have to give some importance to this. Okay, just the index, we will see the key points. So it is developed by whom, I mean by which institution and all that. So it has been rolled out on 4th June 2020 for the very first time, and the aim is to have an index that will truly reflect the market price. To know the market price of the coal, this index has been rolled out. It was first initiated in 2020, remember that. So the base year is financial year 2017-18. For every price index, you might have studied in economics regarding wholesale price index, consumer price index, right? So there is a base year for it. For this particular index, the base year is 2017-18. Yes, IIP also. Then the concept and design of the index as well as representative prices have been developed by Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata. Very important from your exam perspective. Some indices can be asked, and you should be knowing the institute as well. So the index is meant to encompass all transaction of raw coal in the Indian market. How it is sold, what is its market price, to assess that. This includes coking and non-coking of various grades. Here also there is some trouble. Anyway, transacted in the regulated and non-regulated sectors. So what do you understand by coke? Coking and non-coking of various grades means coal comes in various grades. Correct? Coal comes in various grades. Even in geography, you might have learned what are the types of coal, or what is the which type of coal has the highest potential, the best quality coal. What are the types? Can you mention some of the names, or how it is formed also? Let's go back to the basics. Very good. Bituminous is the highest grade. Anthracite, correct? Can you mention some of the types? Bituminous is one, correct? Yes. So it all starts from peat. Peat, let me write down here. Peat, then lignite, then bituminous, right? Then anthracite. So anthracite is the highest quality or highest grade when it comes to coal, formation of coal. So it all starts from peat. Why should we know about this, the evolution or the process of forming coal? Because instead of asking regarding the coal index, they might go back to the very basics of it as well. That is the reason. And also when it comes to peat lands, we say. Have you heard of peat lands? What are peat lands? Yes, can you tell me what are peat lands? The meaning of peat lands? So, what is coal basically? Can we say it is nothing but the organic matter? Organic matter, the fossil, the dead organic matter. That is where we get this best quality of, until we reach this anthracite coal. Peat is the coal which has the highest moisture content, and peatlands are nothing but wherein the decomposed, yes, Gondwana coal. It can be very good. It can be a wetland, or it is considered as one of the types or one of the examples under wetland. So it is a land wherein it is inundated with water, a bit of water, where this particular soil, peatland, I'm speaking about peatland, where it consists of rich in organic matter, but it has high moisture, high water. So over a period of time, if this water gets dried up, this gets decomposed, we get what we see, this evolution or this transformation of peat to anthracite over a period of time, where we have different applications. So especially coal is required for every industrial process. And I was talking about coke. Coming back to coke, coke is, or pet coke, what we call as, after the processing, after the exploration, after usage of the coal, the last residue, yes, after burning of coal, the last residue, right, is called as pet coke or petroleum coke. Today, we to what do you call as, to acquire or afford anthracite, it will be quite pricey. So most of the companies, yes, most of the companies, most of the industries go for pet coke. I think in some areas wherein the air pollution is literally high, especially in Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, there is ban of pet coke. Ban on import of pet coke is also there. That is also we can see. So there are many issues. Simple thing is coal here, national coal index, but much more to connect with. Just gave you a peripheral aspect wherein where all you have to look into. Okay. So anyway, coming back to the index part, peatland is very important. Again, just mentioning, peatland is very important from your climate change part, environment. Okay. Yes. Because the idea in here is when the peatland gets dried up, it is actually one of the carbon storage units, carbon sinks, which can hold carbon. Once it gets dried up, it gets exposed, and excess of carbon can be released because of decomposition. It is what may be related to climate change as well. This is a technique. Over a period of time, being aspirants, you should be knowing, you are learning about one topic, but how do you connect? It is like a web. You have to connect to what all areas it gets connected. Okay. Anyway, the national, where do we? Coal in India to India. Sorry, what was the question? Can you rephrase it? Okay, the National Coal Index upward movement indicates rising demand of coal because of upcoming festive season and winter in the country, which will encourage coal producer to take maximum benefit by further scaling up domestic coal production to meet the growing energy demands. Today, yes, we are shifting or we are switching to better, or what you call as, clean energy or cleaner fuel. Still, big dependency on coal is inevitable. In most of the industries, one cannot actually replace coal. Coal is very important, but in what all possibilities are there wherein we can replace coal, we are doing it. But what happens is, there is always a rising demand of coal, because when it comes to industries, and especially in the festive season and winter means more. I mean, fossil fuel combustion is what we are talking about here, coal combustion. So it might aggravate the condition. It might increase the prices of coal. That is why we see the points here, how it has changed from so low to so high. Okay. The takeaway from this topic is, the institution you have to remember, Indian Statistical Institute, that gives National Coal Price Index. Okay. And coal as a very static topic. This is what we have. Now, from moving on, we move on to the next topic. That is, an app was recently released or developed called as Krishi 24/7. Krishi 24/7. Why it is very unique and important? Because it is the first ever AI powered or artificial intelligence powered solution for agricultural news. We will see the key points here, its features. So recently, Union Agricultural Ministry, remember, for everywhere, for every app, ministry, institutions, organizations are very, very important. You should be knowing under what it's been released, published, and all that. So in collaboration with Vadhwani Institute for Artificial Intelligence and support from google.org, developed Krishi 24/7. So it is an app. And it is the first ever AI powered solution for automated agricultural news. So what is the key term here you have to remember? For news, agricultural news. This app has been developed. So it is AI powered as well under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. So we'll see some of the features of this app, Krishi 24/7 or 24/7. So the tool scans news. As I told you, the keyword news articles in multiple languages and translates them into English. It has a capacity to translate. It scans news articles and translate into English. And Krishi 24/7 will aid to identify, especially DA in the sense the what do you call as the institution that has been developed this what do you call as app. Okay, so to identify Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare to identify relevant news, generate timely alerts and take prompt action to promote farmers' interest and promote sustainable agricultural growth and all that. Why this news is important to us? From maybe in what do you call as in mains any question is been asked on agriculture, okay, the way forward or maybe the initiatives of the government, you can mention this as an example. The more you add examples in your answers, the more quality answers it would become. That's why you should be having an awareness of it. Or maybe in prelims, simple question with reference to Krishi 24/7, consider the following statements. Maybe the ministry can be asked. Maybe what is the objective of this app? As I told you, it is about the news, identifying the relevant news and giving timely alerts to what you call as farmers. So it extracts essential information such as headline, crop name, event name, and all that. Then ensuring that the ministry receives timely updates on relevant event published on the web. Now, this app helps the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, wherein in different regional areas in India, different agricultural issues are there because different multiple crops are grown. So in giving a timely report regarding this news at the regional level or the local level, this AI portal or AI app helps the government so that it understands the severity of the condition or situation, and it makes sure that necessary actions can be taken. So basically, it is not, don't get confused, it is not aiding the farmers, it is protecting the farmers' interest, wherein the government will get necessary information and so it can act upon it. This is the idea behind Krishi 24/7. Hope you got the idea. Okay, yes. Moving on. News on Kavach installations. Kavach. So what does this Kavach mean and why it was in news recently and to what it is related to? Kavach means, Kavacha means what do you call as the protection, right? So why it was in news? The recent accidents that has been happening and happened and the experts' opinion, just a general discussion on these installations was addressed. Whether it is addressed, yes, rail accidents, it is related to rail accidents or it is related to railways. Very good. Anti-collision system. We will see what is it. So recently, Railway Minister attributed the cause of Andhra Pradesh accident to the deceased loco pilot, saying it was likely caused by a human error. So the Railway Ministry has made clear that the recent accident is because of the pilot itself, who is deceased now, who is dead now. So railway officials said that the loco pilot of the Visakhapatnam-Palasa train did not stop or slow down the train despite a red signal given in the block station. So it is actually the mistake of the loco pilot. It has been said. Experts say that this is said by the government. This is said by the railway officials. Let's look at the expert opinion. Experts say that if the Kavach system was in place, it could have helped avoid this accident. Okay, let's say there will be human error. Nobody is nobody is an exception to it. But if at all, what we have planned from past many years, few years now regarding Kavach, that would have been here. The accident would have been avoided. That is the idea. Let's see. what is Kavach? And okay, we have only some points coming up here. Anyway, I'll read it for you. So key points is Kavach is a cap signaling train control system with anti-collision features. It has anti-collision features. Simply put, it plays the role of a watchdog over existing signaling system. See, the entire article speaks about, yes, installation is very high, very, very high. And the concept has begun from 2012, where an Indian Railways Research Design and Standards Organization have conceived this idea, and it's been, what do you call as, yes, I have not, some of the points have gone here, maybe when you receive the notes you'll get it. So the installation cost is really high, and it has a mechanism wherein it can avoid these train collisions. Train collisions are not a very new what do you call as disasters, or the, I mean, happenings that is being we witnessed in the past few years. And this is why in 2012 itself Kavach as a concept came in, but installation is quite high, and if at all it is done, we can avoid all this condition, I mean accidents. So Kavach is designed to give out warnings to the loco pilot in case he does not notice red signal, and instead of stopping is going to overshoot the signal. After giving warnings on the loco pilot's displays, if the pilot does not slow down below 15 kilometers per hour, the Kavach system makes sure that it controls the entire, I mean, what's the speed of the train, and basically it can avoid the major disaster, major accident. This is how the mechanism works. Still now installation is not being done. Only after the installation we'll get a better idea about it, mechanism about it, and still it is still a discussion that is going on. And we are attributing this to the rail accidents that we have witnessed in the past few years. So if at all is this question asked, possibilities are there, maybe you can use this as an example in your means. Apart from that, we don't think so, I mean, I don't think so, wherein question on Kavach and its features in prelims will be asked. And awareness, what is Kavach related to? Kavach system is related to, it is related to rail, or it is an anti-collision system wherein to control the rail accidents. This is the takeaway from here. Okay. To know more about this entire article, if you go through, you'll get an idea about it. Now, moving on, the science and tech topic. Wolbachia or Wolbachia, the Dutch pronunciation it is. So this term is in news, and also why we are focusing on this, because what do you call as question was asked in previous prelims. Wolbachia method. Have you come across this question? Again, it is in the news. It was in Hindu only, Hindu newspaper. What is Wolbachia? What is the idea behind this? Whether it is beneficial, we call it as a method, but basically it is a bacteria. Let's look into it. So we know that there is a continuous surge in dengue, which is a worldwide concern. So scientists claim that in order to tackle this issue of dengue or any other malaria or any infections or diseases caused by mosquitoes especially, so Wolbachia method can help curb the spread of dengue by 77%. So Wolbachia is a type of bacteria that infects a wide range of arthropods, including insects and other invertebrates. Now we are the idea here is, it is not that mosquito is biting us. We are taking up a bacteria wherein we are injecting or infecting the mosquitoes themselves, which causes diseases like dengue, and trying to avoid this, what do you call as proliferation of the population of the mosquitoes, as well as passing as a vector, as a disease causing agent. That is the idea of Wolbachia method. As simple as that. That is a method to avoid diseases caused by mosquitoes. So Wolbachia is a bacteria. Okay, so this is for the very first time it was identified. Yes, it's already there. I mean, we are trying to what do you call as finding a better scope, or finding various in the different areas, different fields, to make sure that this method works. Means, see, the idea in here is not to kill mosquitoes. Doesn't say that we are not going to eliminate, exterminate mosquitoes. That is not the idea. Here, mosquitoes are acting as the agents or carriers of the diseases. Or else, mosquitoes are the prey base for many other predators, larger insects, larger amphibians, larger species. Right. So we are not exterminating it, we are just controlling the population. We are just controlling the spread of the disease. That is what you have to keep in mind. Some of the countries, as you mentioned, like Singapore, has already been adapted it. Now, what is this idea about? I mean, it has garnered the significant attention in recent years due to its intriguing biological properties and potential applications in various fields. So, as a part of biotechnology or science and technology, you can consider this topic. Last year itself, it's been asked. I mean, there is no such thing, need not be repeated. Maybe in a different way, there is a possibility, because it is a growing area and a very, very important concern that we have to tackle with. So there is a possibility it might repeat or resurface. We will see how it works. Okay. So this Wolbachia is as I told you, genus of bacteria injected into dengue vector, that is Aedes aegypti eggs. So basically it is directly injected into the eggs, wherein this causing, in some areas, obviously in sewage or wherever we find this larvae of mosquitoes, that has been injected to the eggs of the mosquitoes. That is the first step. Then once there is a mosquito that is Wolbachia infected, bacteria infected, it it mates with the wild vector, that is which is not available for us, which we did not inject it. So when it happens, eggs do not hatch due to cytoplasmic incompatibility, because this bacteria, which is in the female, when it mates with the wild vector, so because of the incompatibility, eggs will not hatch. So we are actually targeting in such a way that there is a population control, and also totally the upcoming larva will not have any disease causing agent, disease causing virus, basically. So we'll see some of the key features. Wolbachia method does not involve genetic modification. We are not genetically modifying the insect species here. We are not doing that. So it is rather a form of biological control, what we call as biocontrol. There is a concept called as biocontrol, okay, or biological control. So it is not genetic engineering, it is biocontrol. Biocontrol means using one species to control the population of the other species. It can be species, it can be insects, it can be plants, it can be predators, it can be anything, basically, including or introducing one species to control the population of the other is called as biocontrol. So in this method, naturally occurring Wolbachia bacteria can be introduced into male population by infecting insects in a laboratory setting and then releasing into the wild. So when these Wolbachia infected insects male mate with females that are not infected with the same strain of Wolbachia, these bacteria are passed on to their offspring. I'm just reading it what I've explained to you, through the normal reproductive process, and their offspring are less likely to survive or reproduce. There's like, let them mate, let them do whatever they want, but the upcoming offspring is not going to survive. So basically it is a population control or biological control. Getting it? So one mosquito will be infected, and when it mates, so there will be reproductive disorders, maybe there will be population control. Since the method does not suppress mosquito population or involve genetic modification, it is safe for humans, animals, and the environment. As I told you, there is no idea of exterminating the population of mosquitoes. It is not that we are very fond of mosquitoes or we want mosquitoes. It is the order of the nature. We cannot simply rule out that no, mosquitoes we don't want in nature, let's exterminate. There is no such thing. Every species have their own role to play in an ecosystem, including mosquitoes, even though they are disease causing. So we are not going to harm the population, but still tackle the population, control the population. So Wolbachia method, keep this in mind. Maybe in the upcoming articles, if you get more information about it, keep a tab on it. Is it clear? This is this topic on Wolbachia. Then moving on, loss and damage fund talks. So upcoming, we are going to witness, maybe it is already started, I don't know, November is the month wherein we are going to have the next COP of UNFCCC. Where do we have it? United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The upcoming COP, COP28, will be held in UAE. Yes, UAE, Brazil, UAE. So, what could be the possible talks? What has happened in the previous years? And one important topic we are going to look into is loss and damage fund, which was well before established in the previous COPs. And what is the current status, stance of this fund today? We will see the idea of loss and damage fund and the meaning of it and its importance. Okay, so this entire article speaks about how well the countries are committed to provide fund for this so-called loss and damage fund. So there are two terms. What we see is always global warming. Just give me a minute. There was some disturbance. Hope just repeat it. So as the what do you call us? As we can see, the global warming, or what do you call us? Climate change is a buzzword. Likewise, there are two terms that we see in news lately. That is loss and damage fund, or loss and damage, and adaptation. Okay. So what is adaptation? Very simple meaning. The definition of adaptation is it is a proactive response. It is not reactive, proactive. Preparing, being ready for upcoming challenges of the climate change. It is art of survival using which communities and countries make deliberate choices. How are we preparing? Yeah, I'll explain. Carbon tax. Yes, I'll complete this part. Okay. So there are a number of terms in every COP they introduce. So adaptation is nothing but a proactive response, being ready, keeping ourselves ready for the upcoming climate change challenges. That is adaptation. Whereas loss and damage is not proactive. It is quite reactive only, you can say. Already something has happened. It has been done. Some disasters. It can be floods. It can be landslides. It can be outbursts, glacial lake outbursts. What we saw in Sikkim. It can be anything, right? So loss and damage. It's the irreversible consequences of climate change. Loss has been done. Damage is being caused. So the impacts that can't be avoided or mitigated through adaptation efforts. That is loss. So that is quite extremes. Adaptation is proactive. Loss and damage is reactive. So we can see loss and damage includes economic losses, human casualties, degradation of ecosystems, and cultural heritage. So which we have to give more importance, of course, adaptation. But loss and damage, as it is irreversible, what are we going to, or what are the what do you call as initiatives we have taken for this? Because there is a fund that is created. How well the countries are readily, willingly, are, I mean, what say, they want to initiate or take part in this fund is the question in this entire article. Before we understand, yes, common but differentiated responsibilities we say. I'll have to brief it out, but anyway, we will see the timeline of how this loss and damage fund came to being and what could be the possible stance, and then I'll explain the brief background of this. Okay, so just to remember, for the very first time, loss and damage fund was what do you call as established under COP19 in 2013, which were in Warsaw in Poland. It had taken up in 2013. So in 2013, member countries agree, okay, let's have a loss and damage fund. To what is the idea behind loss and damage fund here? Already this is the irreversible consequences. So the developed countries, as one of you mentioned, okay, let me explain that. CBDR, what we have under Paris Agreement. CBDR stands for common but differentiated responsibilities. Common but or different responsibilities, differentiated responsibilities. Because starting from the first COP, because when you see the background, 1992, Let me brief it out. 1992 Rio Earth Summit. In Rio Earth Summit, one of the documents was UNFCCC. One of the documents which came into being as a convention. Then, starting from 1993, if I'm not wrong, 1993 to 2023 or 2024, which is continuing, we see that every year the countries, the members have been met, what we call as COP, which we are going to have is COP 28 now. 27 times the member countries have met, wherein some of them saw major breakthrough, some did not. So in that, the COP 3 that took place in Kyoto, which is famously called as Kyoto Protocol, divided the countries into two categories. First category is historically biggest polluting developed countries. First category, historically biggest polluting developed countries. Second one is recently polluting developing countries. So in short, developed and developing. But look at the claim, look at the title, historically biggest polluting developed countries. Nobody wants, no developed countries want to take the title on its head. So all the countries pollute. Why should we take it? Recently polluting developing countries, still they are developing. So both the categories were not ready to take up the title, not ready to ratify the protocol, ratify the convention, the meeting, and it went on. So many years went by, wherein I think, if I'm not wrong, 2000, COP 15, which took place in Paris Agreement said that, okay, let's not categorize you as giving a title as polluting developed countries and developing countries. Very simple. Whether you are developing or developed, what is the common idea, common goal here? We have to tackle climate change. So let's say, instead of saying this, let's call it as common but differentiated responsibilities. What is common here? The same concept was in Kyoto only. Kyoto was conceived the notion of this concept. Only then Paris Agreement just refined it, that's all. Common means, what is the common goal here? To tackle the emission of greenhouse gases, and what you call as tackle global warming, climate change, etc. Responsibilities are different. Because developed countries have done a lot of damage already, starting from industrial revolution. Developing countries like India, China, Brazil, we have just started, just in the sense, from past couple of years. So equally, responsibilities cannot be given. It is like big brother and small brother or younger brother in the house. Always big brother will be blamed upon. Likewise. Okay. Anyway, so this was brought in. And after that, many negotiations, many things have been passed on. Maybe in environment you will be learning in a better way. I'm just giving a very brief idea about it. So the CBDR concept was there. Then every country is trying their best, including India, to tackle climate change. And in 2013, Loss and Damage Fund was brought in the same perspective, wherein we will create a fund. But who has the major responsibility? The developed countries has to invest fund in this. We can help the developing countries. Already you have enough money, like you are developed enough, powerful enough, help the developing countries. That is your responsibility. That is what we derived it from. Okay, so as you can see, let's look at the journey of this Loss and Damage Fund. So in COP 25, you can count the number of years every year. 2013 COP 19 means COP 25 which year? Very simple, right? Because 2020, I guess, right? So San Diego, again, South America, network for L&D was established. A network was established, but still in COP 25, no commitment of funds. Nobody said we are going to invest this much. Nobody opened their mouth. And COP 26, Glasgow Dialogue on Finance for L&D was brought in. That was a dialogue was brought in, wherein at least then they discussed, let's plan for next 3 years on the L&D fund. We will decide upon it. Okay, 2021 they decided, okay, we will decide about something related to L&D fund. Now 2022 came last year. After intense negotiations, hope you can see, after intense negotiations, UNFCCC members states at COP27 agreed to set up the L&D fund. Okay, finally we'll do it. It is high time we have to do it. Then there was a committee called as Transitional Committee to define who should fund how much and what are the operations we have to take up. And preparations, recommendations is going on as of now. Now, maybe we are expecting in COP28 loss and damage fund can finally be adopted so that it will be helpful for what you call as so the developing nations, especially you can see in this image. Let's go back to the image here. This one image in African country wherein due to disasters, how the poor countries always remain poor because by the time they try to develop, all these disasters would happen, and in order to recover it takes a lot of time and energy and investment and all that. So already larger damage, major damage is caused by the most developed nations because of their industrial activities. So let them help. This is the idea. Okay, I'm just very simplifying it in a different way. Hope you got the idea about it. Loss and damage fund. Maybe after COP28, you might have to look into what are the decisions have been taken on this. This is just a precursor for us to understand the upcoming COP. Now, regarding biosphere reserves, there was a very what do you call as detailed article on it, because November 3rd. Just give me a minute. Okay, so November 3rd is considered as or marked as World Biosphere Reserve Day, and Biosphere Reserve, sorry, it is World Biosphere Reserve Day. Here it should be. Okay, Biosphere Reserves Day. Biosphere reserves are one of the types of protected areas. How we have wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, community reserve, conservation reserves. We also have something called as biosphere reserves. So biosphere reserves are nothing, not only for the protection or the conservation of the wild animals, but also for, you can see, sustainable development and scientific research. It just goes an extra mile to what do you call as protect the environment. National parks, protection of wild animals. Wildlife sanctuaries, focus on particular animals. Conservation reserve, it has its own idea. Community reserve, it has its own idea. Likewise, biosphere reserve, it is an encompassing idea about conservation of the ecosystem as a whole. Okay, so from this area, I want you to go through this article, because you will be learning regarding biosphere reserve in your static classes, environmental classes in detail. Maybe some of the batches here you might have come across this topic. We have discussed about it. The new batches yet to learn about it. I'll explain that there, but just a mention of this topic was necessary. That is the reason I brought in here. Okay, so we have 3 zones. Everything in detail is given. They have 3 zones: core, buffer, and transition. Okay, most of you know about this, I believe. So I'm just perceiving it, presuming you know it. A core is the most absolutely protected region. Buffer is the protective layer around core zone. Transition zone is where human settlements can be expected. So it is the harmony of nature, or what do you call as people with wildlife. That is a concept here, because the very concept of biosphere reserve was conceived by UN or UNESCO under the program called as Man and Biosphere Program, MAB, Man and Biosphere Program, in the year 1971. This program now today, including India, many UN countries have adopted it, and we have major number of biosphere reserves throughout the world. It is not a substitute for what we have as a national park. It is just a strengthening aspect. Already there will be what you call as tiger reserves, wildlife sanctuary, and national parks. So entire landscape will be demarked as biosphere reserve, a larger area, wherein it protects the entire region. That is the concept. As I told you, this will be discussed in a better way in static part. But some of the key points you have to remember is India has 18 biosphere reserve. Maybe that you have to look into, because it is in news. Once or twice it's been asked in prelims very long back, and they focus on the a number of, the names of this biosphere reserve, and description is being asked. These days, lately, what we see is entire description of the wildlife sanctuary and national park will be given. This is located in this zone, or such forest is there, such species are there, and everything what you know of will be given. And in the options, you have to identify which one of it. Likewise, we have 18 biosphere reserve, okay, and we have WNBR also. WNBR in the sense, one more special list at the world level. Already we have 18 biosphere reserve, some are in the world level. So 18 are there, I think 12 are in WNBR. This is something like, we have heritage sites in India, we have something called as World Heritage Sites list, right? Not all the heritage sites are in the world list. Likewise, 18 are in India, 18 have been identified in India, 12 are in WNBR. Okay, so just to mention this topic, here we have the same thing. It is just a discussion about why biosphere reserves matter, importance, significance of biosphere reserve. Maybe when you go through this article, you'll get some points. Make a note of it, maybe for your mains, or maybe for your better understanding of biosphere reserves, it helps. Okay, yes. So moving on, the same thing regarding loss and damage fund, that is adaptation gap report. This was recently seen in news. This article is from Down to Earth. Okay, why all these news we are witnessing this week? Because for the upcoming COP, how well prepared are we? And what we saw before was loss and damage fund report, or loss and damage fund. Sorry, not report. Loss and damage fund. Now we are looking into adaptation gap report. Let me explain you what is adaptation gap. Adaptation gap is very simple, wherein it is the difference between the funds needed to adapt to climate change in the countries and the actual financial support received. That means, now a particular country, let's say India requires certain funds because its recent disasters, let's say extreme weather events, cyclones, like cloud outbursts, landslides, right, floods. So it is a huge loss, damage, economic loss. Now, this country needs some funds. So adaptation gap report says that already what we saw in loss and damage fund, this country, the developing country called India, has to receive some fund or financial support from the developed countries. Let's say, there is one example given here in this article itself. Let's say a country needs at least $200 billion, but the country has received $20 billion, which is nowhere a match to recover for the countries. It's like what we need and what it's been given. There is a gap, and this is called as adaptation gap report. A financial gap is what we are talking about. So it is estimated that adaptation costs will increase significantly by 2050 for most sectors, especially under high warming scenarios. Wherever we have these tropical countries, especially facing the more brunt of climate change, the tropical countries in the tropical zone, between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. So by 2050, it is an estimation. The report says that by 2050, the situation will worsen. But how much fund are we receiving? So see, this is not like an audacity to ask the developed countries, okay, give us fund, we need. So it is not our fund in the first place. The thing is, as I told you in the previous topic, it is their responsibility because they have a major contribution in worsening the climate change. So they have to compensate here. That is adaptation gap report. Just to keep in mind. Okay, the terms adaptation gap report, who releases it or who released it. So this is UNEP. Remember, adaptation gap report was released by UNEP. That fact you have to remember. Then some of the highlights of the report, let's look into it. As I told you, discussion around loss and damage and doubling of adaptation are not keeping pace with the needs. So disasters are happening, worldwide, but the discussions are lagging behind. Second thing is multilateral development banks, including the World Bank, are the largest providers of the adaptation finance, as per the report. World Bank is what is providing for the adaptation finance as of now. However, their financial commitments decreased by 11% in 2021 after seeing an increase from 2017 to 2020. From 17 to 2020. Now, just now we learned about loss and damage fund, right? When was loss and damage fund, the idea was created, in which COP and which year? Can you tell me? Just now we discussed. To recollect, if you are focusing, let me see. Yes. In Warsaw, very good. Okay. If you want to look into 2013, it was. Okay. The idea, notion that's conceived in Poland. Okay. So, when you look at the timeline, 2017, even though the idea was conceived in COP, what's that, in Poland in 2013, when we see from 2017 to 2020, at least, because 17 to 2020, what happened? At least 2020, 2021, all these negotiations on loss and damage fund was happening. So there was an increase, but after 2021, nobody is bothering about it. It is getting decreased. Nobody is funding for this loss and damage fund. And the second biggest providers are bilateral sources. First big source is World Bank. World Bank will what do you call as finance the countries who are facing this climate change adversaries. Apart from that, bilateral sources. What is bilateral sources? One developed country helping one more developing country. Bilateral, two countries. So from a developed country to a developing country, this bilateral sources can happen. Even though when you look into the report, financing through these sources recorded 51% increase from 2018 to 2019, and 58% was there. But what happened for bilateral sources also, that also decreased in 2021, because not to blame the developing countries in a way, every countries are facing the brunt of global warming. So nobody wants, before we build our house, we are not going to build others' house. That is reality. Apart from that, there is some blame game, passing the buck, simply, what do you call as denying the fact, all this is happening. These are the concerns we are addressing here. So this is about Adaptation Gap report published by UNEP and some of the highlights. Moving on. IIT in Tanzania was recently in news, and it is just a pride and proud thing. What do you call as we can consider, wherein one of the institute which has its highest excellence in India has decided, or it was in June, July itself. Now it is formally launched, already launched in Tanzania, in Zanzibar campus. So IIT is one of the prestigious institutions in India, right? It has been launched in Tanzania in Africa. How does it help? Because we are looking from the perspective of international relations. So Indo-African relations, especially Tanzania. So some of the key points, let's look into it. Questions can be asked on the mapping of Tanzania, right? Possibility, that is the only possibility we have. And also the upcoming projects when it comes to IIT. This is the first place. So India has planned 3 places to have IIT abroad. Which are the other 2 countries? As of now, in Tanzania. Any other idea? Any idea you have? Which are the other 2 countries? India has planned to launch IIT or have an offshore campus. Kuala Lumpur, Philippines, and one more is Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi and Kuala Lumpur. It is yet to come in future, but as of now, in Tanzania becomes the first Indian institute to be launched offshore, and also one more. What do you call as a greater thing is the first dean, or the dean or the director would be woman, or the first to be led by a woman director outside the country as well. That is also one more pride we can consider. So it is where it is located in East African mainland, because Tanzania is an East African country, and this historic initiative is being undertaken as a part of government of India's endeavor to take the top quality education system out of India to international arenas. So Indians, we go to different countries in what do you call as looking at the quality of education. Even IIT, IIMs are known for their excellence or excellent quality education. So this has been sent to offshore, wherein it could attract investment or goodwill or better relations, international relations, etc. So we'll see mapping Tanzania, some of the key points of Tanzania, the location, because it is in the news. So first thing is, it is situated just south of equator. South of equator. The mainland is bounded by Uganda, the surrounding countries, Uganda, Lake Victoria, Kenya to the north. Mapping means you can simply gaze or glance over the map at times. Picture memory will help you in answering the questions. So by the Indian Ocean to the east, we have Indian Ocean to the east, Mozambique we have the south, Lake Nyasa, Malawi, Zambia, all these are the places which is to its south, north, east and south. And we also have Lake Tanganyika, Burundi and Rwanda to the west, where we have this, of course, you'll be knowing about the African Rift Valley, some of the major lakes. We have Lake Victoria as well, which is part of 3 different countries there, Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania. And we have the Africa's tallest mountain, that is Mount Kilimanjaro. And the Tanzanians are of a Bantu descent. Bantu is a community, Bantu descent. These are the important points you have to look into. Yet look into the map, okay, the lakes, the countries surrounding, it matters. The area, region, especially East African region is very, very important, because we have all these Indian Ocean islands also in here. So this can also play a very strategic role, apart from the perspective of education. This is there. Then moving on, next topic on international relations is India-Bhutan relations. The previous classes we saw India-Bangladesh relations. So it is also regarding connectivity. There also we saw connectivity. Here also regarding the connectivity. And recently, Bhutan's king had visited. So in his visit, some of the issues, bilateral issues or of the mutual interest were discussed. And let's see what are the highlights and why it matters to India. So India and Bhutan agreed to discuss new routes, because if you can tell me which of the Indian state borders Bhutan. Bhutan is our neighboring country. Which of the Indian states borders Bhutan? West Bengal, Sikkim, Assam. Yes. Bhutan also is in an area when it is a strategic area, wherein we have our very friendly neighbor, that is China on the other side, wherein China's interests are also increasing in Bhutan. Some demarcation, you can see delimitation. Even though India-Bhutan discussed a new regional connectivity, no discussions were made on Bhutan's boundary delimitation agreement process with China. India did not talk about any delimitation agreement. Of course, it is very evident, it is self-explanatory, wherein we are keen, we are establishing better ties with Bhutan, because, of course, to counter or keep at bay or keep an alert when it comes to the relations between Bhutan and China. So that is Bhutan's affairs with China. But we make sure that we are strengthening the ties. But no such discussions were made regarding China here. That is what given in the news. Then this is very important, as you can see, amid growing concerns over China's effort to forge a bond with Thimphu, that is Bhutan. So China is trying to keep a bond with Bhutan. So we are also doing the same thing by increasing the or improving the regional connectivity. Let's see what are the highlights of the talk. Okay. So the two sides announced 9 steps to expand ties in trade, technology, cross-border, all the issues. These are the areas: mutual investments, education, and people-to-people contacts as well, because we have border. And the two sides agreed on rail link. There are rail links wherein some are proposed, some are developing, some are just designed or destined. We will see. Kokrajhar in Assam to Gelephu in Bhutan, and Banarhat in West Bengal, and Samse in Bhutan. So these are the places connectivity will be tied up, or maybe as improved, so that rail link projects will be undertaken in the future, or it has already been designated. This is one thing. And India also decided to provide bridge financing for the 5-year plans of Bhutan for India. Bhutan is a very small country wherein we cannot say such a backward country. They have their own system when it comes to, because they have a government as well as a monarchy. There is a king as well, so they have own ideas. So it is a recently emerging or developing country that is coming to the mainstream. So India is providing finance for this country. Then both sides agree to designate Daranga and Samdrup Jonkar as immigration check. Border issues is very, very important. Yes, it is a landlocked country. It's a landlocked country wherein, see, it is a country sandwiched between two major economies, India and China. Not only that, from the ecological perspective, India and China, the major global greenhouse gas emitters, wherein Bhutan is carbon negative or carbon neutral country. That is also very important, right? Both the sides agree to designate Daranga and Samdrup for connectivity. I mean, what do you call as for immigration check, so that there will be no trouble. Security. We have our what do you call as defense forces also stationed here in Bhutan border. Can you tell me which is that? Then both the leaders decided to safeguard the ecological diversity of the region. Ecological diversity, connectivity, because tigers of India can end up in Bhutan tigers or rhinoceros. There is this, what do you call as bilateral engagement is there. Then apart from that, for Bhutanese students, allocate additional MBBS seats in the medical colleges of Assam. Reservation for them as well. All these are the highlights of the talk. Yes, Natula is a pass, but do we have a defense or security force that's been stationed in Bhutan? In the borders of Bhutan? See, we have BSF, Indo-Pakistan. What is the Assam Rifles? Okay, look into it. Okay, from internal security viewpoint, you have to look into it. That I'll give it to you. Anyway, next is appointments, a recent appointment. It is related to RTI, Chief Information Commissioner. Indo-Tibetan will be in Tibet. Anyway, you take your time and look into it. Okay, I'll leave it to you. Chief Information Commissioner and 2 new Information Commissioners assumed office recently. So, Hiralal Samaria was sworn in as the Chief of the Central Information Commission by the President of India. President of India swears in or gives oath. Yes, SSB. Very good. SSB. SSB is the Defense Force. Yes. At present, there are 2 Information Commissioners in the Commission. ITBP is in China. Okay. The commission is headed by the Chief Information Commissioner and can have a maximum of 10 Information Commissioners. Basically, in this entire committee, there will be 10 Information Commissioners and 1 Chief Information Commissioner. Today, there is still vacancy that has been there of 8 Information Commissioners. As of now, only 2 Information Commissioners and CIC has been appointed recently. That is just regarding appointment. Just a static part or a very factual thing. Maybe in your other central government level exams, this question can be asked. For the sake of it, I just added here. Not only that, regarding RTI, there is a possibility, because who is a Chief Information Commissioner? Chief Information Commissioner is one who delegates the provisions under RTI, Right to Information Act, which is constituted under, in the year 2005. So the jurisdiction of the commission extends over all central public authorities. Basic details about RTI is what you have to know. Okay. Then these are appointed, the commissioners are appointed by President of India on a recommendation of a committee. There will be a committee for appointing, that is Prime Minister as a chairperson in that committee. There will be leader of opposition and a union cabinet minister nominated by Prime Minister. These all together decide who will be the CIC or Chief Information Commissioners. So the tenure is 3 years, for a period of 3 years on the date on which they enter or he or she enters the office. I have put only the 4 major points here. I want you to look into right to information and the role of Chief Information Commissioners. Okay. So just an appointment as a term, we have to look into it. Moving on, places in news. RTIs, when it comes to RTIs, public, what do you call as public agencies or public authorities come under RTA, mostly anything and everything. But the, what do you call as the restriction is RTI as clearly mentioned, wherein, I mean, under the provision, some information are extended, or it is confined to reasonable restrictions. Not only that, some information come under classified information. That is the limitation. Apart from that, every other thing you can file an RTI, and you have the right. One citizen has a right to information. That is why this act was enacted or brought in. The thing is, there are certain limitations. There are certain limitations for this act. There are certain what do you call as advantages as well. And recently also, when it comes to electoral bonds, we have discussed this, I believe. Electoral bonds. So wherein the government said, what do you call, citizens do not have the right to know regarding the donors. Then when RTI was invoked, under RTI, the advocate, what do you call as Attorney General has quoted the term, even under RTI also information come under reasonable restrictions. Likewise. So you might have to look into which, you just look into it, whether universities or which have certain, what do you call as exclusions, exclusivity, and which do not have. Just to glance over it. No question is asked on RTI so far. That is for your basic awareness, I would say. Okay. Then places in news. Kavach Crater Lake was recently in news because it is the world's largest acidic lake. What do you understand by crater lake? Crater is the word where you have heard. I mean, where have you heard of this term? Crater. Geography. It is related to what phenomenon? How it is formed? The term, yes, meteorite. And also you can see it contains high concentration of sulfuric acid and hydrochloric acid. It is because of the formation of the volcanic, in the volcanic, active volcanic areas, as well as it could be also because of meteorite strike, right? So in India also we have one crater lake, which is yes, Lonar Lake in Maharashtra, which is also a Ramsar site. Lonar Lake in Maharashtra, which is also a Ramsar site. Anyway, this information on this particular lake, which is a very spectacular lake, you can see turquoise blue color lake. So this information we got by or received by Copernicus Sentinel-2 mission, which provides optical images of Earth's surface. This is, I think this is by European Space Agency, this mission is, wherein it provides information about Earth's geographical boundaries, and it captures images of it. This was recently there in the news, and it is about just to know where is this lake present, where is this is located. You can see the map as well here. It's in Java. It is part of Javan Island in Indonesia, and we know that Indonesia, this region, entire region, sits on Pacific Ring of Fire, which is a highly active volcanic area, right? Or even earthquake prone area. So just to have an idea about it is enough. Okay. Maybe some of the points have been, only 2 or 3 points are there. I'll just edit it when I share it as a PDF. So this is what we have from places in news. This week, I did not find much of what you call as tribes in news. There was one tribe in news, that is Madia Gond of Bastar region of Chhattisgarh. Madia, M-A-D-I-A-G-O-N-D, Gonds. Were in news regarding some, what do you call as electoral polls that was there. Then wildlife sanctuaries, I did not come across any important ones as of now. I mean, as of this week. So if you have come across, keep a tab on it. Then these are the important ones. I mean, I consider when we revisit the previous year question paper, there is a possibility where we can associate these topics in the upcoming exam. So we'll go to the revision questions, what we have discussed. I mean, some of the revision questions depending upon the topics what we have discussed in the past classes, okay, or maybe the past week. So let's look into the questions, try answering this. You can take your time, at least few minutes. Then let me know the answer. Go through the question and let me know the answer. Yes. You can tell me the answers. There will be one mapping question each week. I wanted to bring it up because this will help you in your revising, and the more you keep on repetitively hearing, it will be easy for you. Okay. First thing is the Kerch Strait. Last year and all it was in news, but still Black Sea and all that, you see Mediterranean Sea, in a way, in a different way, it has been asked. Okay. The Kerch Strait connects Black Sea and Sea of Marmara. The Strait of Gibraltar connects Atlantic Ocean with the Mediterranean Sea. Jordan borders the Dead Sea. So most of you have given answer as B, 2 and 3. What is wrong with 1, statement 1? The answer is right. B is the right answer. The Strait of Gibraltar connects Atlantic Ocean with the Mediterranean Sea. That is right. And Jordan borders the Dead Sea. Also look into which are the other countries that borders Dead Sea, because in this Gaza Strip area, Israel area, this can be a possibility. Yes, Israel and all that. Just look into it. So Kerch Strait connects Black Sea and Sea of Azov. Sea of Azov, not Sea of Marmara. That is the right answer. Okay. Yes. Moving on. Sea of Azov. Yes. First statement is incorrect because it is not Sea of Marmara, it is Sea of Azov. The other two statements are correct. So B is the right answer. 2 and 3. Moving on. With reference to Brew community, which of the following statements is or are correct? Yes, you can answer. What is the right answer for this? Last class we have discussed this. Brew community are also known as the other name for brew communities. Do you remember? Right. Answer is 2 only. What is the other name for brew community? Answer is B. So these are the refugees in the state of as of now in Mizoram. Basically, these community are from which state? Yes, they are also called the Riang tribes. Riangs, and they are refugees in the state of Manipur, but they are, before they became refugees in state of Mizoram. Did I pronounce Manipur? These are refugees in the state of Mizoram, not Manipur. So where did they come from? From Tripura. But they also live in Tripura, Mizoram, and Assam. 3 different states. Okay. So second statement is correct. Next question. With reference to State Food Safety Index 2023, consider the following statements. The index is an annual assessment published by Ministry of Agriculture, and consumer empowerment is one of the parameters in the assessment. Maybe second one is quite factual, but still I thought let me put it up. So let me know what is the answer by recollecting the previous topics what we have discussed. What is the answer? Yes. No answers. Remember, we have discussed regarding the food safety in the last class. D. Is the first statement correct? The index is an annual assessment published by Ministry of Agriculture. B. Okay. Right answer is B. Good. What is wrong with the first statement? It is published by, or assessment. This assessment is published by. It is given right here, so it should be FSSAI, Food Safety Standards Authority of India. Okay, so it is, statement 1 is incorrect, the statement 2 is right. One of the parameters, we have seen many parameters, I just added it. So second statement is correct, first statement is incorrect. So answer is B, 2 only. Just the last question to know about the place. Melghat tiger, which was recently seen in news, is in which of the following state? Very simple question. Okay, very good. It is in Maharashtra. It was seen in news. Many were there, but given the time constraint, at least 4 or 5 questions if we revise, and some topics if we keep on listening to it, it is going to help you. What you have to do is be thorough with, even if you're picking some of the topics, be thorough with it, be confident with it. So we'll come up with some more topics in the next week, and keep reading your newspapers. Why I keep telling that? Because when you read your newspapers and then attend the class, it is a revision for you. You already have read it, and you listen to it again, and your learning is completed there. You will remember well. That's the thing. Okay, so this is what we have for today's session. And you all been great interacting and answering. It was a nice session with you all. Thank you so much. Any questions you have, you can ask, or else we'll call it a day. Okay. Thank you so much. Regarding, okay, happy Deepavali to all of you too. Actually, there was one topic that I have not taken up, that air quality index, because it has a long narrative. Delhi pollution, every year we have it. Maybe it is a static part, we'll take it up there. Regarding smog towers, yes, air pollution is a very important topic from your mains. Prelims long back they had asked, not recently, but mains, if you see, at least 5 questions. I mean, if you number it over the years, 4 to 5 questions have been asked on air pollution. Anything related to air pollution can be important, because you have a couple of articles this entire week. If you focus on that, I think that will do. Yes. Please go through this. Anything related to what you call as air pollution is important. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next week, next class. Take care. Have a great weekend also.